you board a plane. You sit down, put on your headphones, and close your eyes. 12 hours later, you step off in a country 8,000 kilometers away. You did not walk a single step. You did not carry water, hunt food, or worry about predators. You just sat there, watched a movie, and arrived. Now take away the plane. No GPS, no highways, no border checkpoints to guide the way. Yet somehow, on foot, without any of that, your ancestors crossed entire continents and oceans. They reached every corner of the Earth, from frozen tundras to remote islands thousands of kilometers from anywhere. And the way they pulled it off will make modern travel look almost lazy by comparison. So how exactly did early communities, relying on profound navigation skills, sharp intellect, and their own 2 feet, spread across and populate the entire planet? Let us start with a geographic boundary that has physically kept 2 distinct ecological worlds apart throughout history. In the waters of what is now Indonesia runs an invisible border. Scientists call it the Wallace Line, named after the naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace, who noticed something strange in the 1850s. On one side of this line, the animals looked distinctly Asian. Tigers, elephants, monkeys. On the other side, a completely different world. Kangaroos, marsupials, birds found nowhere else on Earth. Even during the Ice Ages, when sea levels dropped low enough to connect entire continents by land, this particular stretch of ocean never closed. It remained open water, generation after generation, across vast historical eras. This was not one narrow channel. It was a scattered chain of straits, an archipelago the size of a continent, cut apart by deep water that no drop in sea level could ever drain. For all early humans before this point, water had always meant a wall. Here, for the first time, someone treated it like a road. And yet, at a rock shelter called Magid Bay in Arnhem Land, Northern Australia, archaeologist Chris Clarkson and his team uncovered something remarkable. Stone tools. Ground ochre. Signs of human life dated deep into our ancient past, published in the journal Nature in 2017. To get there, someone had to cross open ocean with no coastline in sight, no compass, no map, no metal. Some of these crossings stretched beyond 100 kilometers with nothing but water on the horizon in every direction. They built rafts anyway. In 2019, archaeologists tried to recreate that journey using bamboo rafts and ocean currents alone. Most attempts failed, swept off course, or broken apart by open swell. Which means the people who actually made it across were not lucky. They were skilled enough to succeed where modern replication could not. They launched into the unknown anyway, and they populated a continent no human eye had ever seen. Ocean navigation did not begin with professional sailors. It began with early pioneers using deliberate craft to venture across open waters, successfully locating new horizons. Now, one impossible crossing could be thought of as a rare anomaly. A raft blown off course, a matter of happenstance. But here's what shatters that theory. The same pattern of crossing open water on purpose, again and again, shows up everywhere ancient humans went. Look at the Pacific. Roughly 3,000 years ago, a seafaring culture archaeologists call Lapita began pushing east out of the Bismarck Archipelago near modern Papua New Guinea. They had no instruments. No compass, no sextant, nothing metal at all. What they had was memory. Anthropologist Patrick Kirch, who spent decades excavating Lapita pottery sites across the Pacific, documented how these navigators read ocean swells like a written language, tracked star paths across the night sky, and followed the flight patterns of land-nesting birds to find islands they could not yet see. Later generations of Pacific navigators built something like a mental instrument for this, a star compass, dividing the horizon into houses where each star rose and set at the same fixed point, night after night. It lived nowhere but inside a navigator's memory, passed from teacher to student the way a language is passed down. By around 1,200 years ago, their descendants had reached Rapa Nui, or Easter Island, one of the most isolated pieces of land on Earth. By roughly the same era, they had reached Hawaii and New Zealand too, stitching together a triangle of ocean larger than the continent of Africa. Then look at the opposite end of the planet. Genetic studies, including a widely cited 2007 analysis published in PLOS One, point to a population that spent generations isolated on the Beringian land bridge between Siberia and Alaska, a place researchers now call the Beringian Standstill. For thousands of years, this population lived suspended between 2 continents, cut off from both, waiting for a door that had not yet opened. When it finally did, they did not trickle south. They poured through it. When the ice finally opened a path south, their descendants did not stop at the first fertile valley. Archaeologist Tom Dillahay's excavations at Monte Verde, in southern Chile, uncovered human occupation stretching back many millennia. That means in a remarkably brief historical period, people crossed glaciers, deserts, mountain ranges, and rainforests, walking the entire length of 2 continents. Different oceans, different ice sheets, the same human family doing the same remarkable thing over and over on every side of the globe. Picture yourself in one of those rafts, days from any coastline. There is no chart to unfold, no dial to check. The sky and the water are the only instruments you have, and you have spent your entire life learning to read them. This was not travel in the modern sense. There was no destination pinned in advance, no schedule to keep. You moved because the swells told you land was near. Because a frigate bird flying low at dusk meant it was heading home to roost somewhere just past the horizon. Our senses were remarkably equipped for the task. Lying flat in the hull, navigators could feel the rhythm of 4 or 5 overlapping swells through the wood itself, distinguishing the deep, steady ocean swell from the smaller waves bouncing off an island they could not yet see. At night, the sky became a slowly rotating compass. Anthropologist David Lewis, sailing with traditional Pacific navigators in the 1970s, documented how they tracked stars rising and setting at fixed points along the horizon, switching from one to the next as the night wore on, holding a course accurate to within a few degrees, without a single instrument. Every sense was a sensor. Every hour demanded a decision. And somewhere out past the edge of what the eye could see, land was already waiting. Here is what should stop you cold. Every single one of these crossings carried real odds of death. No coastline in sight. No way back if the raft failed. No way to know if land was even out there. And they did it anyway. Not once. Not by accident. Over and over on every ocean on the planet. It happened because of the raft launched into open water toward Majid Bay, countless generations before anyone drew a map. It happened because of Patrick Kirsch's Lapita voyagers, stitching together a triangle of ocean larger than Africa using nothing but memory. It happened because of the Beringian Standstill and the generations who finally walked south all the way to Monteverde. It happened because of navigators like the ones David Lewis sailed with, lying flat in a hull, feeling 4 overlapping swells move through the wood in total darkness. The next time you board a plane, put on your headphones and close your eyes for 12 hours. You are finishing a journey your ancestors once took on foot, on rafts, across generations, guided by nothing but starlight and the memory of birds. We did not invent exploration. We are naturally driven by it. Long before there were maps, there was a profound human desire pulling us toward every horizon we could not yet see. The plane just made it quiet. The human spirit that refuses to stop at the edge of the water, that part never changed at all.